This is one of those games that you're either going to absolutely love or absolutely hate, depending on your gameplay style and what you value having in your farming game. Starsand Island was definitely the game for me, and I'm gonna let you know why during the gameplay segment. Unfortunately, the Switch 2 port is objectively a mess, and the 1.0 PC version is broken. I don't know who signed this off, skin tones looking like this, game-breaking bugs, motion sickness-inducing pop-ins and framerate drops, and overall an unplayable version costing $40, and let's not forget, Nintendo does not allow refunds. Alas, after 80 hours of playing Starsand Island across multiple saves, I'm gonna help you decide if this is the game for you. I'm also gonna show you comparisons of the game's performance across the Switch 2 and the PC. Most of the footage that you're gonna be seeing is from my PC save file, unless I state otherwise. To maintain full transparency, this video is not sponsored. However, I did have sponsored videos for the game during its early access. The standards remain the same on this channel. Either way, I'm not gonna make any claims that I don't believe in, I'm not gonna sugarcoat things, and I'm not going to hide flaws of a game that I experience. If you're into cozy life sims and honest reviews, this is the right channel for you. So squish the like button, and thank you to everyone for bearing with me. I know reviews and videos have been very slow. I came back from Lebanon and I finally have a diagnosis for why I have chronic pain. Your girl has neurogenic thoracic outlet syndrome. Basically, I've got a 13th rib that is trying to unalive me, while I also have an elongated C7 that is also trying to unalive me. I'm trying to seek physiotherapy in the beginning because my doctor and I don't want to go the surgery route. So while I try to balance the pain, playing video games, making these reviews, and of course this is not my full-time job, things are just gonna take a little bit longer, so thank you for waiting for my review before deciding if you want to buy a game or skip it. Now let's start off with the story. Basically, you're going back to Starsand Island where you grew up, only to see that it's been a bit run down while you were away. Along the way, you're gonna rekindle your relationship with your past friends like Solara, the mayor's assistant, and Delphin, who runs the Aqua Blue shop by the beach. And both of these characters were your childhood best friends. The game opens up with a cute cutscene to show you how life used to be when you were a kid. But the main character looks like the default girl rather than what your character looks like. From there, you're going to help the Starsand Island community come together and fix the island, which is going to be done through the main gameplay loop. But before we get into that, you can customize your character. So you're going to be able to choose your hair color, eye shape and eye color, eyebrows, makeup, and beauty marks. In the beginning, you have a limited selection of clothing items, but you're gonna unlock more as you progress through the game's objectives. You also have this neat color adjustment bar, which you're gonna use if you don't like the color swatches. However, if you remember my early access review, the color swatch inconsistencies carried over to the 1.0, and I have to say the dark skin tones on the Switch 2 are abhorrent. While the body skin tone looks perfect, the faces, as you can see, are completely gray and ashy no matter what makeup you choose. This is very upsetting to see, as the PC version is fine since early access, whereas the Switch 2 version starts its issues right from the character customization menu. It's absolutely unexcusable to roll out a game, especially a live sim game, where people play because they want to feel included, and yet this is how you're gonna look like if you are a person of color. Moving to the bread and butter, the gameplay loop, which is my favorite. You have your phone, which is gonna be your best friend. Using the applications is going to help you navigate your objectives. For example, the Island Life app will show you different requirements to unlock new features. For instance, during the tutorial, you're gonna unlock the build mode, whereas the next level requires you reach apprentice level in any profession so that you can unlock more daily resident requests, which we'll talk about in a second. The Star Note app is where you collect star sand, and you can access an abundance of activity checklists to complete and be rewarded for it. The more that you do, the higher your level will be, with a cap of level 45. The rewards range between new outfits, clothes, furniture pieces, and more. The closest thing I can compare Starsand Island's gameplay loop is if elements of Sandrock and elements of Fantasy Life, what is Fantasy Life? Fantasy Life, came together and it made a baby. You can see a lot of inspiration from Sandrock through the menus, the UI, and the notice board quests. These are timed and can vary between a 1-star request, 2 stars, or 3 stars, which indicates how difficult it's going to be to complete. We also have Gust and Ginger from Portia and Dr. Fang and Nia coming all the way from Sandrock as a pretty cool collab. As for the comparison to Fantasy Life, which in the latter you have 14 jobs to choose from, Starsand Island sticks to 5, and your goal is to advance through the ranks, moving up from apprentice to junior, intermediate, senior, and finally an expert. The professions are as follows. You have the crafting and exploration, which are my favorites. Then you have farming, ranching, and angler. Similar to Fantasy Life, every profession will have a mentor who's going to guide you, and with every rank up comes a range of blueprints to unlock, which is going to make your life on the island a little bit easier, and it's also going to add more variety to the things that you can do within said profession. For example, my favorite is exploration. This is all about the Moonlight Forest, and it's set within this stunning cave. There's combat here, which is very simple. It requires ranged weapons and corresponding ammo, or you can use these bots if you just don't care about combat. Combat, I would say, is very weak. All you do is attack and jump out of the way. There's no dodging or rolling, so it's pretty passive. So if you're here for combat and complex mechanics, I will already tell you this is not the game for you. The forest is also your mining hub, so you're gonna be finding gems, ores, and treasures here. But as beautiful as the forest is on the PC, the Switch version is a huge disappointment. You can easily tell which is the Switch version as I was showing stream the comparison between the PC and the Switch version. The Switch really takes the magic out of it, it looks dull, and it's just stripping away the whimsy that I adore on the PC version. The next profession is crafting, which is all about obtaining better tools, machinery, and making traversal faster. You can also get boats and cars, you can ride animals, but in my opinion the hoverboard is the best, even though it can get messy at times, and this one is obtained through the crafting profession. I like how the game synchronizes professions together, so it's also a little bit like Fantasy Life. Crafting and exploration work perfectly as a starter combo, then you can synchronize ranching and farming. With farming, you have your seasonal crops, which are gonna attract some enemies like weeds, bugs, and snails. So here you're gonna make use of the ranching profession to combat that, because rabbits, ducks, and chicks will get rid of the issue. Plus, the animals are very adorable. Some of them will give you produce. You can also adopt pets, you can buy some and give them clothes. These animals also have traits, so you can breed them and sell the ones that you don't like, but I don't know about you, I get too attached to animals and I end up not selling any of them, and some of these animals are rideable. Now the last profession is angling. Fishing is very easy here. You throw in the line, and once the fish bites, you reel in the line, and you gotta make sure that you balance not pulling too hard, otherwise the line will go red and it will break. The 5 professions have their corresponding skill trees. Some of them are more beneficial than others, and you're gonna use Starsand to unlock them. I highly recommend watching my tips and tricks video, even though that was filmed during early access. Pretty much all of the tips still apply here, and I tell you which are the most important skills that you should prioritize first. Of course, we also have relationships here, and 1.0 is introducing activities that you can do with the romanceable NPCs. There's no marriage, there's no kids, and personally, I think if you did not like the characters during early access and you were hoping for a lot more depth in 1.0, you're not gonna find it here. I mentioned in my early access review that the characters have personal lore, which you can read through the phone over here, and it's a feature that I really appreciate, and I really enjoy how they come together as a community. Other than that, they're still pretty boring, like I said in the early access review. However, you gotta know, I don't care about relationships in farming games. I play RPGs for stories, and even then, if the gameplay sucks, there's no way I'm still going to play. I do appreciate having good characters like Sandrock, Story of Seasons, Coral Island, and Rune Factory and the like, but if the gameplay loop was bad in these games, but I had a good story, I'm not gonna be playing that game and I will get out. So if you're like me and you enjoy more an abundance of content in the gameplay loop aspect, you're gonna be right at home. But if you care about in-depth stories and lore and characters having so much development, again, right off the bat, this game is just not for you. You also have building here, plus new presets that have been added to the 1.0, so if you're like me and building is not your strongest suit, you can make use of these. I've seen the community make some insane builds, and honestly, I've not seen a single farming game that has this amount of customization for your house. Everything can be tuned and tinkered and played around. You even get a boat to decorate and a whole extra island as well. And if you love collecting and constantly getting rewarded for everything, this is the game for you. Even using the camera has a neat feature where you're gonna earn rewards for it. Collecting bugs, fish, furniture, and more is gonna grant you stamps. You can also traverse the world and find treasure. The world is stunning, but sadly, the 1.0 release has broken everything for me. And in the stream, you probably saw my jaw drop quite a few times. The water mechanics are not working, the beach festival is completely ruined, NPCs are floating, assets are missing, there's extreme pop-in, and the Switch 2 version is even worse than the PC. You're gonna see in this clip, the game can barely keep up with rendering the road and the railing while I'm riding my scooter. Add to that, the skateboard is bugged, so I'm not the one jumping, the game is just making me jump here. The buttons would not work. When I do want to jump, I wasn't allowed to. And in my opinion, the game was completely unplayable on the Nintendo Switch. In my early access review, I already poured 40 hours into the game. And then we streamed it for over 20 hours, and not once did we have the game crash or have any game-breaking bug like this. To make things even worse, the Switch presents you with two modes that you can choose from: performance or quality. Tell me how the performance mode looks like this. It is absolute mush. Like, you gotta spare your eyes from the misery and just stick to performance mode because this is an absolute disaster. However, the good side of the Switch is that you have mouse control features, which is pretty neat. However, personally, as I said, I have now neurogenic thoracic outlet syndrome. I always had it, I just didn't know what was the cause of my pain. So the mouse is just too small for my hands. I usually use this huge mouse for my keyboard and PC, so I cannot deal with the mouse features, but if that interests you, it does work and it's available on the Switch. And if you thought this is the end of the Switch problems, well, no, there's still more. The UI is also messed up. A lot of the text does not show up. Many buttons, as I said, randomly stop working. So, for example, in the stream, I also couldn't access my inventory. And the initial loading screen took me almost 3 minutes. I literally had to screen cap that because if this game has to win anything, it is the longest loading screen that I've ever experienced in my entirety of covering the Nintendo Switch for the past 5 years. We do have the multiplayer mode with the 1.0 version. So far, it does not support cross-platform. The devs did state publicly that they're working on it. So at the moment, if you and your friend play on different platforms, you won't be able to play the game together. You're also going to be locked out of doing things together at times, so one of you has to go back to their world and complete some tasks first. Additionally, unlocking the multiplayer is going to take a few hours. So you're going to be playing by yourself for a while before you can invite your friends over, which I know is a deal breaker for many of you. Again, this is another thing that the developers have said they will try to fix in the brief that they sent me, but if you're gonna buy it right now, I would say hold off until they actually fix this. Now, we did try multiplayer on stream. It ran pretty well. You can access this special shop and use the currency that is generated by spending time together and earn some unique furniture, decor, seeds, fishing rods, and the like. I also don't want this video to just be so negative that you will think I hate the game, because I don't. I love this game. I just think that the performance of the 1.0 is abysmal, and the state that it's in on the Switch is completely unacceptable. However, I will, again, echo some of the things that I liked in the early access review, which I'm happy to still see here, which is this game is really good with its quality of life features. Storage management is easy, traversing is easy, the professions are really fun, the animations are adorable, and I'm really happy to see a farming game try different things. I feel like we're always seeing pixelated art styles, and it's nice to see something that looks a little bit different. However, again, it's really sad that the 1.0 has taken all of that joy out of the game for me. With that said, is this the game for you? If you're new here, hello you gorgeous human being, it's Miss Bubbles. How I do things on this channel is that I will tell you this game is for you if, not for you if, and my verdict. You'll ask, why do you do that? Well, because whether I like a game or not, I still want to find reasons why you personally might like it or or enjoy it or hate it, regardless of how I personally feel. So instead of giving you a review score, I try to make it more relatable to you and what you like in your game. And that way, you make the choice if this is the right game for you or you're just gonna skip it. So this game is for you if you love a fun gameplay loop and you enjoy decoration. It's for you if you love to collect loads of items, bugs, fish, outfits, furniture, and more. If you've enjoyed games like Fantasy Life and Sandrock and you love ranking up different professions and constantly getting rewarded for it. It's also for you if you're looking for a relaxing, cozy game where you're gonna enjoy your pastoral life by the beach. However, this game is not for you if you care about in-depth characters and deep, complex stories. It's not for you if you're looking for RPG elements when it comes to your combat and you want complex fighting styles. It's also 100% not for you, in my opinion, right now if you pick it up on the Switch. And it's not for you if you already saw gameplay from the early access and you're expecting that this is going to be a totally new experience. The essence of this game is still here, so if you don't like what you saw in early access, I don't see why you would enjoy it in its 1.0 full package. As for me, I adore this game. As I said, I'm just so sad to see the state that it's in the 1.0. And I will die on the hill and argue with anyone that says the game doesn't have enough content. I don't know if we're playing the same game because I have over 80 hours in this game. There's so much content to do. However, the state of the Switch especially is abysmal. The developers have personally informed me that they're working on updates to fix things. So because of that, I would say keep an eye out on my pinned comment because I will keep you updated when it's actually ready for you to play. Otherwise, just hold your horses. Yet, if you still decided to buy the game and you want to enjoy it, my tips and tricks video for the early access still applies, so you can check that out. And if you're looking for a fun video where I played 30 farming games, so you don't have to, for 2 hours each, with a total of 60 hours to find the best and worst farming games for you, watch this video next. Thank you to my YouTube and Patreon bubblies who make videos like this possible, and a shout out goes to The Game Dimension, Jake Logan, Stella, John, Faye, Grey Wolf, Charming Kara, Fu Fei, Andrew, Cookie, and Just a Small Bean for going the extra mile. Until next time, stay bubbly.